Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Kate Van Riper joining us here once again from Innerscape Wellness. She's the CEO of the company, located right outside of Nashville, Tennessee in Brentwood, but she's working with people all over. Today, we're going to discuss self-hypnosis for improving your life, what exactly is self-hypnosis, and of course, some techniques to how to do it for yourself. So welcome back today, Kate. How are you?
Hi, Jill. Jill, I'm really great. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of like this subject a lot because it's the basis of doing a lot of things on your own.
Yeah.
And it also kind of provides a lot of support for when you are working with a hypnotherapist. So I really like it.
Beautiful. Well, let's start with a little bit of your background. Tell us a description of what Innerscape Wellness is and what you do.
Yeah, Innerscape Wellness is my hypnotherapy practice, and I assist clients with making transformational changes in their lives through the power of their minds. This process is actually designed to help them unlock their full potential, overcome challenges, and achieve positive and lasting changes in their lives. I've been a practicing clinical hypnotherapist for about the last 7 years. I started practicing in the San Diego area in a town called Encinitas. And I moved to Nashville, Tennessee area over a little over a year ago. And I've been practicing here in Brentwood, just south of Nashville. So I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, which requires hundreds of hours of training. And I have a degree in psychology, and I've taught classes at University of California, San Diego, and at a special neurological association called Adapt Functional Movement Center in Carlsbad, California. So I work with a variety of habits that people really want to change in their lives, maybe have tried other things and it hasn't worked, including improving things as well as changing things. So in addition, I'm not a licensed psychologist or a healthcare provider, so it's important to work with your healthcare team and use hypnotherapy in addition to that.
Perfect. And by the way, how do we contact you? Could you share that?
Oh, yeah. A couple of ways. You can go to katevanriper.com, KATEVANRIPER, or innerscapewellness.com. Either one.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. Well, pleasure to have you back here again. And we'll continue down the conversation line about what's in store for today. I know it's about self-hypnosis, how it can really work to help improve someone's life. So let's start off with the basics. What exactly is self-hypnosis? Could you kind of break that down for us?
Yeah, sure. First, I kind of like to give a little background on how
Sure.
I came to self-hypnosis. My first experience with self-hypnosis was quite a few years ago before I became certified as a hypnotist. And I was really fascinated by hypnosis. So I took a weekend class that was geared to using self-hypnosis for childbirth. I'd never been so impressed and amazed with anything in my whole life. I was actually able to put myself into a state of trance
Okay.
and actually anesthetize different parts of my body, like you would do in childbirth. From there on, I actually used hypnosis really for help with relaxing and better sleep. And then I got a condition with my feet called plantar fasciitis.
Ooh. Ooh.
And a lot of people have experienced it. It's actually fairly common, but it's an inflammation of a thick band on the bottom of your foot that connects the heel bone and the toes. And in
Mm-hmm.
extreme cases like mine was, it's very painful. It's a sharp pain, and especially painful when you get out of bed in the morning and you're trying to walk. So I tried, a lot of doctors and various kinds of treatments until I found one that
Yeah.
worked temporarily, but was extremely painful in itself. Steroid shots. And they put those shots in the bottom of your feet where it's very sensitive. And so before I went into the doctor's office to get the shot, I did self-hypnosis to reduce my anxiety, for one, and to help numb my foot from the pain. So
Okay.
really, really helped, which is good because I ended up getting several treatments since they only lasted for a few months. And also, by the way, hypnosis for pain is probably the most studied and effective way to use hypnosis too. So I started using self-hypnosis successfully for other things in my life that triggered anxiety, maybe, and produced physical symptoms. Now I always do self-hypnosis when I wake up in the morning, first thing, to set my intention and to prepare for the day. So self-hypnosis, what is it? It's really simple. It's a technique where you induce a state of focused attention
Okay.
and suggestibility in yourself to
Mhm.
bring about, the changes that you want in your thoughts, your feelings, or your behaviors. It's like guiding your own mind into a relaxed and receptive state so that you can influence your subconscious thoughts and
Yeah.
habits in a positive way. So that's a little bit about what it is, pretty simple. Would you like to know what a lot of people ask me, which is self-hypnosis the same as meditation?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
no? Okay.
No, it's not exactly the same, but they have a lot in common.
Okay.
Um, self-hypnosis and meditation share similarities in terms of their effects on the mind and the body. But the goals of self-hypnosis are usually to achieve specific things or to make positive changes in your behavior or your mindset. Self-hypnosis often uses guided imagery, visualization techniques, and affirmations to influence your subconscious mind. Meditation, on the other hand, focuses on cultivating mindfulness, awareness, and inner peace, not
Okay.
so specific as hypnosis. So mindfulness involves observing your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations without judgment. And
Mm-hmm.
often the aim is to achieve a state of present moment awareness and just clarity of mind. So they do have some things in common, some of which are both produce an altered state of consciousness, which is characterized by increased relaxation and focus and inner awareness. The relaxation response is something they have in common, including a decrease in your heart rate, your blood pressure, and your muscle tension.
Okay.
Both of them have the experience of dissociation, where you experience a sense of separation between your conscious mind and your body. And both use suggestibility because in both, the mind becomes very open to suggestions. And finally, both are really affecting neuroplasticity in the brain. It's when a regular practice is employed, it can lead to long-term changes in your brain structure and function, which is amazing. So both self-hypnosis and meditation have more in common actually than there are differences.
Got it. Good to know. And also, so there's a few things that are in common, but you mentioned both self-hypnosis, meditation really have a lot more commonalities than differences. So why do people have some difficulty doing self-hypnosis?
Yeah, even hypnotists themselves sometimes. There's several reasons, a few of which I can go through. Some people find that they have just unrealistic expectations. They expect immediate dramatic results, which can lead to frustration and them being discouraged about it if that's not kind of corrected. Some people assume that self-hypnosis is going to feel exactly the same as being hypnotized by someone else. And it really
Yeah.
doesn't. It's a different experience in that you might feel a little less deep
Okay.
than when you're working with a hypnotherapist, but you're
Mm-hmm.
still, you're still reaping benefits from it. Some people have misguided ideas about trance, such as it has to involve a complete loss of awareness or control. And that's really not the case, whether you're working with a hypnotherapist or on your own. Another problem people have sometimes is just having an inconsistent practice.
Okay.
So, they can progress pretty slowly if they only do it like once a month. And some people actually equate trance depth with the effectiveness of self-hypnosis.
Okay.
And that's also not necessary and can keep you from feeling like you've actually done something.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, people might ignore their own preferences and not experiment with different techniques to find what works best for them. Because there's different ways of getting into
Yeah.
self-hypnosis, some of which, might be easier for you than others.
And I know we have to remind everyone how we can contact you if we want to start working on ourselves with the self-hypnosis, with hypnosis in general. Just tell us the website one more time, and then we'll do some techniques, if that's okay, to help us get there by ourselves.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, katevanriper.com or innerskapewellness.com. And there's a button on the website that you can press if you want to schedule a free consultation or just ask questions. So,
All right, so let's get started. Tell us some of these techniques.
okay. So there's one simple method that's called the 3-2-1 reset. So you find a comfortable setting, turn off all distractions, you scan your body and release any tension that you have. And then you count your next 3 breaths. You cross your arms in a self-hug posture with each arm on the opposite upper arm.
Mm-hmm.
And just spend 1 minute focusing on your breath, breathing in and breathing out, and just observing it without trying to stop your thoughts or your feelings or any sensations in your body.
Okay.
And if your mind wanders, you gently return your attention to the present.
Huh.
So after a minute or longer, you release the self-hug and smile. And
Okay.
practice this technique twice daily for 2 weeks to experience some really deep effects, which may not be immediately apparent, but will become clearer to you with a consistent practice. So that's something that's pretty simple, right?
Yeah. All right. Got that one. All right. What else can we do?
There's another technique called the
Power,
power
P-O-W. I didn't know if
technique.
it was power or P-O. I have to spell it out.
Yeah, well, that's an acronym, right?
Okay.
So power, Power, it incorporates mindfulness, or the P is for present moment, which helps you focus your attention and creates a receptive mind state. And it encourages an open mind, which is the O, P-O, promoting willingness to change. The W is written affirmations that provide clear, personalized to you suggestions that are powerful because they come from within you and they're stated in your own words.
Okay.
And then the E is exploring the affirmations in your own words.
Mm-hmm.
And this deepens the impact by engaging your imagination and considering the benefits and the challenges of acting on them. So you're kind of exploring it and taking a look at what would work for you and what might be a obstacle for you. And then the R is reinforcing the suggestions through self-affirmation and acknowledging progress, which reinforces commitment to change, and it builds your confidence in it. So simply, we can go through it.
Sure.
An example is, for the present moment, just focus on the present, observing your experience, your surroundings, your breathing, and your thoughts without getting caught up in them.
Okay.
Open mind, be open to new possibilities. So
Mm-hmm.
sit comfortably with a good posture and just tell yourself you're willing to make a change. Written affirmations.
Yeah.
You can do this before you actually start. You can write 3 affirmations or suggestions related to the change that you want to make.
Okay.
And you always word affirmations in a positive sense. So what you want, not what you don't want. Yeah. So you write 3 affirmations or suggestions related to the changes that you want. And then you read each one out loud without judging, questioning, or changing them. And then you explore. For each suggestion, you visualize what it would mean to successfully act on it in a consistent way. So you consider the benefits,
Okay.
the improvements, and the potential obstacles. And then reinforcing it, you see yourself acting on these suggestions consistently over time.
Okay.
So you visualize yourself. So you might affirm every day in each and every way, I get better and better. And then you take a breath, acknowledge progress that you've made, and congratulate yourself.
Hmm. Thank you. A little pat on the back. Does that work?
That absolutely does work.
Thank you so much. All right. Interesting. So if someone, wanted to do hypnosis with a hypnotherapist, like yourself, now this works like we are today here on a Zoom. It works. And how do you describe that to someone, right? Because they're always like, well, I don't understand. You don't have to be in person. Could you explain that? Because I know sometimes it's hard to grasp.
Yeah. Well, as long as you have a good connection and we can, relate to each other like we are now, everything works just fine. And I do what I would normally do in the office. I kind of give a pre-talk to you and explain to you what to expect. And we talk about, your issue or problem or what you want to change, and some maybe things about you that are inherently good for using your own kind of powers to help make a change. Like we call them resources that you can use. So we have that talk, and then all I do is guide you into a state of relaxation. And as long as I can see you and judge kind of,
Kind
how
of.
it's going for you, yeah, then it's fine. And all you need to do is listen to what I say, experience what you experience, and then afterwards we discuss it and kind of try to figure out what that experience meant for you. So it's not necessary because I don't have to touch you or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the only difference I think is in, well, let me think about this. In my office, I use headphones, and you can hear my background music and my voice at the same time. So it's kind of more intense than me just talking to you. But you kind of get some of that same effect when you're using, your own headphones, if that's what you use instead of the speaker on the computer. So it's a good idea to kind of do that. So it seems a little bit more present, my voice. But otherwise, the techniques are the same. The focus is the same. You're still able to attend to anything that comes up if it's an emergency. And
Mm-hmm.
it's much more convenient because you don't have to get in your car and drive anywhere, right?
It's so true, right? You don't. And what would you say the most common things people come to you for?
Well, some of them I've done previous podcasts on, but a lot of people come with anxiety and stress.
Okay.
And sometimes they don't recognize that that is the issue, because they might be experiencing like problems in their relationship or problems at work, et cetera. And once we start talking, they realize that they need to learn. They need to learn how to take care of themselves, how to relax, how to use little techniques in a situation where they need to reduce their stress. And so as they start learning these things, they start becoming more confident. And that's another area that a lot of people seem to need some support with, is just self-confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think by the time you're an adult that, you figured this out, but it's not the case. And when we do hypnosis, what I can do is, with your agreement, is kind of take you back
Mm-hmm.
in your imagination to a past experience, maybe where all this anxiety or stress or coping mechanisms or beliefs about themselves that they need to change would have occurred. And so that's really, really healing to do that. And that's really what amazes a lot of people, is how easy it is for them to kind of see themselves in a scene where they might have kind of picked up some negative belief about themselves that's carried them through to this point and affected their ability to, take care of the things they need to.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
people come for weight loss, to stop smoking. It's very effective for that. Just to improve their performance, for instance, test performance or
oh,
sports
that's one I've never heard
performance.
of. Interesting. You're right. For taking tests and
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, visualization is a technique I use for that too. And that's very, very powerful. Um, in fact, I worked with somebody who had just gotten accepted into the Air Force, but he still had to take an entrance test.
Mm.
And he was kind of nervous about that because, he was like 20 years old and had been a while since he'd been taking a test. So we did a session the day before he took the test. And what was at stake was his ability to get into the training program that he really
Mm-hmm.
wanted. And he just aced it. He was able to get into any program that he wanted, and he could see himself, doing really well, put himself in the situation. It really worked well for him. So that was a real positive thing. So even things like that you might consider to be somewhat minor can really affect the course of your life because of the results, right?
Yeah, absolutely can. And you clearly are passionate about what you do, and you also want to let people know that there's other places you can go, which is so kind of you because you work, out of Nashville in person, but virtually anywhere. But you say if someone wants to go to someone closer to them, what do you recommend?
Um, well, other than going onto Google and searching for people and then just calling them to find out, more about what they do and how comfortable you are with them. That's one way, but also going to a hypnotherapy certification organization that
Mm-hmm.
lists people in their area is really a good way to do it. And you can find out what their specialty might be. For instance, like I do a lot of work with stress and anxiety, weight loss, actually depression too. So that would be a good thing to
Yeah.
look for if those are your issues. So you can go to the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners is one association that's really, really good. They actually certify hypnotherapists, and these people are members of the organization. And you can go to hypnotistexaminers.org to find
Okay.
somebody in your area.
All right. And how did you want to close off for today? We still got 2 more minutes left in the show. I don't want to cut you short.
Oh, no, that's okay. Um, so people, sometimes want to know how affordable this is. And, it kind of varies. You might spend anywhere from $100 to $200 per session. I actually don't limit the duration of the session, so it can be anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. A lot of times the first session is an hour and a half. So my fees are 150 a session, or what I do is right now I'm having a special so that if you buy a package of 3 sessions, which is something most people really, kind of need anyway, you can get a 25% discount by spending
Wow.
338 for 3 sessions instead of 450 on an individual session. So that's pretty good. And just there's really an unlimited number of ways for you to improve your life through a regular practice of self-hypnosis. So if you haven't done it, there's many resources that can help, including me. I can answer any questions
Mm-hmm.
that you have, and you can be on your way.
Well, thank you so
So
much.
yeah, thank you. Much health and wellness to all your listeners.
Same here. And how can we reach you? Tell us one more time. Thank you.
KateVanRiper.com or Innerscapewellness.com. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back and looking forward to next week when we connect again. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
And we'll talk soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.